Hello, guys. Juncheng Shang, Jordan Thompson, as we will be watching a man who basically lost his pedo mustache and somehow magically it got transformed onto my face. Jordan Thompson, of course, kind of like the informed player, the favorite of this clash. However, I do think that there are definitely options for Yuncheng Shang to trouble him here. Obviously, Jerry is a very talented player. If the serve advantage, which is the main thing going for Thompson here, will be neutralized by the slower conditions in Indian Wells, this should be a good match. That's my assumption at the very least. Hello, Jake. Thank you for the unwavering support. Although that was 2 hours ago, so I don't know if you're actually here right now. However, it is Damien time, baby. It is Jordan Thompson time. It is Yuncheng Shang time. I don't know if Keen will be on the stream today, but if he will be delighted to see me in a Celtic kit. At least if my memory, if memory serves right, because I think Keen is a Celtic fan. It's kind of random. I mean, don't read too much into it. It is kind of random. I have no idea how Celtic are doing at the moment, but I do have this shirt that I wore today. Anyway, we are actually going to start just right now. Juncheng Shak, of course, qualified for the main draw. He beat Yoshihito Nishioka and Facundo Bagnis. When it comes to his win over Nishioka, it was pretty wild because it was 5 match points saved in the second set tiebreak. This is actually the third time already this year when Jerry saves match points and wins. Of course, he's been also saving match points and losing, but everyone does that. The previous two occasions being in Hong Kong, the semi-final run that he had there. He manages to beat Laszlo Jere and Botic van de Zandt, who've been very long matches, both saving match points. Then he, of course, also beats Francis Tiafoe and then loses to Andrei Rublev. So certainly, it is like a bit of a not uncharted, so charted territory for Jerry to save match points this year. First and foremost, the main question for him basically all the time is just health and fitness and whether he can stay injury free, whether he can play well in a deciding set. We'll see how it goes today. I mean, I heard that he had a medical timeout against Facundo Bagnis in the final qualifying round. As far as I remember, I think I fell asleep on that match before he had that MTO, so I can't really speak about that. But 6-7-5, he managed to beat him, qualify for this event, and now plays Jordan Thompson. And really, like the variety he has of the ground, the ability to spread the court with his forehand, the leftiness, these are all things that could potentially bother Jordan Thompson. But I think, probably the biggest deal here is whether the serve advantage of Thompson, that is probably his biggest benefit, his biggest asset in this matchup, whether it will be at all neutralized by the fact that we are playing at Indian Wells, we are playing on these gritty, slower hard courts with a high bounce. Of course, there are going to be players who will say that it's much faster this year. Tommy Haas will say it too. Andy Murray will say it. And I'm not really sure what they're talking about. But, maybe it is a tad faster or something. Or maybe it just represents, let's say, a different idea of what fast and slow are anymore. Because I remember in Rotterdam, for example, someone was telling me in my comments that, what are you talking about? This is fast. And I was like, well, if this is considered fast, then we have really arrived at a weird stage in the let's say, progress in the development of tennis courts all over the world. But anyway, it's been like this in Indian Wells for years. Does it actually bring out high quality tennis? It often does. So who cares whether it's fast or slow? We need to have both on the tour. Juncheng Shang currently 40-30 up in his service game. Ooh, that was an interesting idea. Tries to go for this +1. I think a fake out with the forehand drop shot attempt, but actually going for the slice. Loses the point because he dumps it into the middle of the net. Of course, it's Indian Wells. We have a lot of other action going on at the same time, so we will be mentioning that too. I will also have some time during the changeovers to, of course, talk about the matches that happened before. I will be referring to your questions, comments, and opinions from the chat as well. So let's just enjoy this fun ride of Shang and Thompson. if they finish and there's going to be like a very interesting match also, like right about sort of about to end, I might stay on for a little while longer to talk about that as well, but we will see how it goes. I mean, I'm just gonna play it by ear. Luigi impersonator, yeah. What did you make of Radu's win today? Are you favoring her over Yastremska also? I mean, sure, Raducanu won, but when I'm seeing some of the comments, I'm like, well, let's kind of, let's stop right there. I mean, she's been winning matches this year, and obviously, you guys know that I'm actually a big advocate for her talent, and I do believe in her ability to get back to the top. Definitely, I do think that she might also contend for big titles in the future if she has, just a healthier couple of seasons and gets back to her best possible best form, which we haven't really seen other than one event really yet. But when it comes to today's win, I just think, it was expected. It was nothing special. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. It's not a win after which we should be saying like, oh yeah, that shows us that she's back. It's not that particular win. I mean, it's some other matches that have shown us that she has the capability to be back. When it comes to her match against Yastremska, it's not a great matchup, probably the same way players like Sabalenka, whom she can play in the third round, is not a great matchup. So I think a big step for her would be to beat Sabalenka, obviously. If she just makes the third round, it's a good event anyway for her. If she loses to Yastremska in the second round, I mean, we'll see how competitive it is. But like so far, it's kind of, she did what she was sort of expected to. Now she gets the match with Yastremska, where it would be a good win if she gets there. And against Sabalenka, of course, that would turn it into like a whole new deal if she manages to beat Arena in the third round. But yeah, let's see her beat Diana right now, because we talked about it at the Australian Open as well, that Yastremska, Sabalenka, it's kind of the same playstyle. And of course, Diana doesn't execute it, nearly as well. But, there are definitely similarities in terms of their games. And if you're struggling against one, you're probably going to be struggling, at least to an extent, against the other as well. And even at the Australian Open, when Qin Wenzheng beat Yastremska and lost to Sabalenka, we could see a lot of the matchup issues that were soon going to hurt Qin Wen against Sabalenka already in the semifinals. Yeah. Shang has a very nice family history with the ping pong, and I think a footballer was he his dad or something like that. Definitely, the mom had like a medal at the World Championships, I think, in table tennis in the 80s. And I think the dad was a footballer who played in like the national team even. Let me check that. Yeah. The mom was actually a bronze medalist at the World Table Tennis Championships in 1997. She that same year she also won the mixed, and she also had a bronze medal in women's doubles at another edition. So definitely at some point was one of the best players in the world. I don't really know her. I haven't seen any points from her. Although the guy that she won the mixed doubles with, Liu Gaoliang, I do remember him. He must have been pretty young when he played with her, because I do remember him from like even like 2012, 2008. Like these sort of table tennis, Olympics, World Championships. So must have been very young when he played with her. But yeah, a sporting family for sure. The one of Jerry, and perhaps that's also why they've sort of, from the very beginning of his life, really, they have been lining him up for this. Yeah, some American humor already in the chat as well from Ghosty. Obviously, I said football, which is because I don't know anything about that sport called American football. I think I don't know anything about it, but it sounds weird. And it has a lot of commercials, which soccer does not. Anyway, Jordan Thompson serving now. Well, so far tough to say if he's actually going to have such a phenomenal advantage on serve as he's been generally having the last 12 months or so. Just recently, I was actually looking at Indian Wells 2023, and Jordan Thompson beat, I think, not at Indian Wells, but at Hertogenbosch 2023. And Jordan Thompson beat Milos Raonic there, right? And Tomo was ranked outside the top 100 there, which again kind of shows you like how big that jump that he has made is. And the fact that he may be a slam seeded player in slams soon, it's definitely very impressive. And while he might still have certain limitations, of course, as a player, I do respect that a lot, especially coupled with the more calmer mindset that he's been developing. But is it going to be enough against Shang? Let's see. So far, he's grinding pretty well here in this point. Manages to get to a shot which I thought, and Shang probably also thought was going to force an error out of him, or just yield the point to Shang in any way. And eventually it's the Chinese cracking, but we are at 1 game all. Definitely wasn't like a 2 unreturned serves type of game. Everything was like in play. However, Thompson did win all of his 4 service points here so far. And this is why, obviously, I mentioned earlier that this is something that I will be paying a lot of attention to, how easy it is for Jordan on his own serve. Because if it is in these conditions, it's going to be a massive key to the match for him. If it isn't, though, and it's kind of about the quality of the baseline game, I like Jerry's chances because he's so much more inventive. He's so much more crafty. As great as Tomo's improvements have been, the first serve first and foremost, but also getting the forehand to an actually sort of reliable shot and something he can play with pretty deep, not only in very fast conditions, like something he can get away with, not only in very fast, slick conditions. I have to say that he is still a bit of a crude baseliner, even if you may. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. That's kind of harsh, but compared to Shang at least. So as long as this is about the baseline rallies, as long as this is about who gets the better angles, openings off the ground, I kind of like Jerry's chances for sure. Although there's some early erratic play from the 18-year-old still. No, I think he's actually turned 19 already, right? Or will be very soon. Let me check that. February 2005. I am not a Celtic fan. I am not a Celtic fan, no. However, I do have this shirt from back in the day. I honestly am surprised that it still fits because I remember wearing it like 8 years ago or something. But no, it's totally random that I have this shirt. I did used to like Celtic a little bit when I was a football fan in around, let's say, 2008, 7. There used to be a couple of Poles playing there, of course, Żurawski and Boruc. Also later, Paweł Brożek, but it's a bit later. And basically, at the time, I did like Celtic, actually, like Venegorov Hesseling, Aiden McGeady, Shinsuke Nakamura when he played there. That was insane, of course, the free kicks. But yeah, I think right now I just don't watch any football, so I can't really call myself a fan of any club. Olympique Lyon was my favorite when I did watch football, which was like my first favorite sport, really. Maybe other than ski jumping, but let's say in my early teens, or even a bit earlier. But right now, no, I can't really call myself a fan of any club. Shang getting this error here from Thompson, running around the forehand pretty optimistically, I would say, with a lot of ambition, but it does the trick. And he's 40-30 up. Nurlan is asking, are you subscribed to Kasatkina's YouTube channel? They mention your name there? Mine? Or whoever else's? Like, why would they be mentioning my name in the Kasatkina YouTube channel? I'm not subscribed, by the way. No. I've watched a few videos, but in the long run, I don't really have the patience or the attention span, honestly, for them. Like, I kind of just watch 10 minutes, and after that, I'm kind of gone. So, well, that probably has something to say about me when it comes to the, when I was born, like sort of the attention span of a person who's my age is pretty rough. So I haven't really like gone through a full episode of Kasatkina's channel. I think I watched the Shevchenko and Potapova interview that they did because I was just interested in how did that relationship come to be, really. But yeah, that was mostly because I like Shevchenko, so that's why I watched it. I don't know, Ghosty. I mean, Nurlan said that, but it sounds kind of unrealistic because I don't know why Daria Kasatkina would be talking about me, but maybe, I don't know. Very much enjoying watching Mikkelsen, says Matthew. His attitude and stepping up in big moments seem to be there. Yeah, great development really this year. The way he's been able to sort of turn that disappointing next gen finals campaign into actually, belonging on the main tour now. You get him, like, let's say, a couple more crucial points against Tommy Paul recently, and he gets a great win there. I think he actually might play Tommy Paul here again in the second round, right? And yeah, especially if he gets from Unar here quite kind of easily, which he is doing pretty much. 6-2 first set, at least so far, so good. He definitely could have a shot at Tommy again, I think. This is a very tight section that Djokovic forefront, right? Because you have Umber, you have Paul, you have Mikkelsen. So I think it's all very unclear there, essentially. I mean, Mikkelsen looks so young. I mean, he's 19, so he is very young. But I get what you mean. He has a bit of a baby face, which I don't think is only because he's 19. It's probably gonna stay. Halep is back for Miami. Do we know when Jensen is back? I haven't seen any announcements, to be fair. I have no clue. But when it comes to Brooksby, I guess he just hasn't been training as actively as Simona, right? Because we sort of have heard over the years that Simona has been like still practicing just to be ready to return the tour, basically in any possible moment. So with Brooksby, it probably wasn't like that, I suppose. And when it comes to that suspension, Ghosty, it actually ended for him right when Indian Wells started. So he could have played Indian Wells if he got a wild card. That was the first week. So it's only been, well, basically this week is the first one when he could have played. But yeah, I'm just assuming that he needs more time to practice. That's basically the guess. What a forehand drop shot from Juncheng Shang here, and it was actually a pretty similar motion to the one that he played earlier when I wasn't sure if he was going to just play an actual drop shot or just extend the motion and play a slice. So I think maybe on that previous occasion he was maybe also going for it, actually just netted it. This time he executes it very well. Thompson was actually so close to it even, but it barely bounced. Some really good net play here from Thompson, it would seem, although Shang is going to lob him and the point is still going. It would be a bit of a steal, definitely, for the Chinese. Thompson showing off that forehand finally being like a bit of a tool, at least in rallies, in terms of, getting some decent depth on it. But eventually he misses that backhand cross, I think. He's just, looking at that call now. But yeah, it does seem to be wide. The Halep story is weird because, and no, I don't know if this is what if this is exactly what Ghosty is saying, like if that's what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is that at first the authorities basically said that the amount of substances found in her body couldn't be ingested, unknowingly. And right now the other court is basically saying the opposite. So, well, I'm not really passing any judgment here if I say that it's kind of weird that one expert said that and the other expert said something completely different. I know that there will be people who, if we ever see like a full report, there will be people who will be looking into it. There will be people who know more about doping as a whole in tennis than me. So I'm basically relying on them, and I'm not. I'm just not really passing any judgment or giving any opinion because I don't have one. She's allowed to play. She's gonna be in Miami. We're obviously gonna cover that. We're obviously gonna be interested in how she performs as well. And I actually do not remember that goal from Nakamura, because that was kind of after I stopped watching football, I think. I wonder what Mikael Immer is up to. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's see if his retirement is actually true or not, like if he actually comes back. Great point from Juncheng Shang here. He gets Thompson to slice, manages to again just spread the court so well with the forehand, pinpoint accuracy, first the inside out and then the kill inside in. Gets it right on the line, and he has a break point. I think the first of the match, right? I don't think Jordan had one in the first two games of the 19-year-old. So it's going to be an opportunity for Shang, who is looking pretty good so far. And if I'm going to say that like someone can still iron out how they've been playing in this match, it's probably him. Like he's made some rough errors off the ground, but like that's something he can cover up. Definitely Thompson is not dominating it, and definitely he's like, yeah, in the rallies with Shang for the most part, which is what Jerry wants for sure. And he wins one. He wins one here. He just manages to counter punch, finds that one forehand down the line, puts a bit of pressure on Thompson, and it's Jordan who cracks first. And this is really looking great for Shanks so far. This is, yeah, just the focus and base end rallies that we've had, the fact that Jordan is not doing too much damage on serve. Shang is enjoying himself, and as I said, I think a second ago, I mean, Shang is the one who so far has like made a bit more errors right away, like some some that he can basically polish up, and Thompson has been sort of just trying to play his usual game, being pretty consistent off the ground, trying to get a lot out of the serve and get to the net, but it's just kind of tough on a court like this. So it is a nice matchup so far for Jerry. Do you find DMing girls on Instagram unethical? Depends what you DM, Nurlan. I mean, honestly, like if I had a daughter, I wouldn't like you to DM her, no. But I mean, how is DMing different than like coming up to someone in public? Depends on what you say, right? If you DM someone, I mean, something inappropriate, they're probably just not going to respond. If you say something to someone in public, they're going to slap you in the face. So probably that's why people are saying more inappropriate things in DMs, especially from anonymous accounts. But I don't see why it would be inappropriate for Ghosty to text Yelena Ostapenko if he was, cultured. And yeah, I think that's fine. Finger Polska? What would that mean? I think Shang probably missed that forehand. I don't know if we're going to get a close call, but I would assume so, which brings him down to 15-30. Trying to ramp up the pace here, yeah, but he just misses it. Happy for Monfils, says Matthew. He looked good. Don't know who he faces next. I do know. It's Hubert Hurkacz. Actually, so it's going to be a pretty exciting match. I don't know if it's going to be finger Polish, yeah, nail Polish or whatever. We don't really associate it with Polski or any adjective like that. No, the words are very different in terms of their etymology. Shang extracting the error here out of Thompson again, especially when he's been lifting that backhand cross court to Thompson's forehand. It seems that the Aussie with his whippy technique has been struggling sometimes to keep the ball cross court. Just get it over the net or find the angle. Here he kind of shanks it even. But yeah, Monfils facing Hurkacz. I don't know if it's going to be very entertaining in terms of how their games match up. I think it might have a lot of pushing involved, but all in all, it's still a bit of a big name, high profile second round, I think. Here we have a drop shot from Jordan Thompson, actually, but if Ghosty was complaining about the Shang ones being readable, This one, I guess Jerry read like a book because he was there in a flash and he just puts it away cross court easily. 40-30 now for him, and a chance to open up a 4-1 lead. Nice serve. Should get a pretty aggressive play here. However, he lets this ball go and it flies into the court. That's kind of surprising because it didn't even seem close from the feed. I would like to get a replay on that, but I don't think it was that close. But I do think he actually chose to let this one slide. A mistake. Let's see how costly it will be. A nice backhand counter from Thompson, though. He was kind of out of the point and he managed to get it right there into the corner. Perhaps would have won the point anyway, even if Shang plays the ball, actually. Shang, sorry. Yeah, I thought I was confused for a moment. On the changeover, I'm probably going to look at what's happening on the other courts. It's a double fault for Shang now, so that previous point and a bit of hesitation might cost him. Could have been 4-1 up, but now we are breakpoint down from the perspective of the 19-year-old. Since Australia, Jerry has only played one match he had only played one match until Indian Wells, losing to Radu Albot. I think it was Delray. So once again, it kind of raised a bit of questions on like how fit he is. But he got through the qualifying here. He looks fine so far. And Thompson just barely misses that backhand return down the line. Definitely the right play, I think. It would have given him a substantial advantage if it goes in, but just tiny, the narrow miss out wide. So bucket deuce, as Shang is still hoping to get that 4-1 lead, which wouldn't end the set, but it would be a very nice, very nice edge that he could keep working towards. We're waiting for something. I'm not sure what. As usual, I'm watching this on mute. But it seems that Shang is now apologizing to Thompson, and he will be serving. Once again, the second serve, of course, the previous one on this side, the deuce side, was a double fault as he was trying to play it pretty deep down the middle, avoid any, I guess, threat of the Thompson return. And I guess I can see why, because now he was actually under a bit of pressure right away in the rally when the serve wasn't that good. However, he's out of it. But this time he's the one cracking first, just flattening out that backhand a little too much. It clips the net, and there will be another opportunity to break right back for Jordan Thompson. 26 minutes already. It's been a bit of a slog in that the rallies are long, that there's going to be a lot of tactical, chessy play, if you may. But that's the Indian Wells courts, right? That's the beauty, that's the specifics of them. I don't think he's landed this serve either. So once again, under pressure. Thompson not going for the line there this time, but just makes a very cheap backhand error. He kind of gave this one away, not gonna lie. Let's Jerry off the hook. Yeah, not much of a threat than Thompson can really create of the ground, but still, Shang is leaking some errors. He hasn't been too clean. And there will be another breakpoint opportunity for the Australian. So far, we haven't really seen it, but if this match is like incredibly long, which sort of it is on it is on pace for that so far. You kind of will have to start wondering about the conditioning of Shang as well, given that he had that MTO and a long match in the qualifying. But I think we're still far away from that. But obviously, if we get to like a Freeling deciding set, we will be trusting Jordan a bit more physically. That's kind of undeniable. But let's see if he can break here. Trying to trade backhands cross now at the Shang forehand. Shang gets a nice opportunity to attack, but it doesn't really allow him to take over yet. The rally is definitely quite an effort from both players. And what a shot from Shang to end it. I mean, I thought that that's sort of a moonball-ish stroke from Thompson, which I don't think was fully meant actually, because he probably just mishits that forehand. But it seemed that it would just result in a longer exchange. I mean, this was probably about 30 shots, I would assume. It didn't seem like it was going to end right there, but Shang just kind of ramps up the pace on the forehand at will and manages to get a winner here, mostly just by surprising Thompson with the amount of uh, speed that he was able to generate, the amount of pace that he was able to inject. Of course, that's kind of been something that Jerry has always been known to do. You might not see it based on his like how lightweight he is. He might not be using that pace all the time, but like just unleashing on a ball, that's been one of his specialties since the junior days. It's kind of been like using that power to actually construct points, or using at least bits of that power to actually construct points. That's been one of the improvements of his over the years, and one of the things that he had to improve. And he gets out of that game after that grueling rally on a break point. He gets out of that game. He's 4-1 up and looking pretty good in the opening set for sure. What did we have in the chat? See everyone backing Thompson here, but honestly, Shang is a terrifying first round for anyone. I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Shang is actually on these courts. It's a pretty tough matchup for Thompson as well. Yeah, just the fact that Thompson will not be getting as much of the first serve and yeah, just straight up off the ground. Of course, Jerry is the more inventive player and the one with like more, even more in his attacking arsenal. Like it's just not easy for Jordan to get to the net. It's not easy for him to win easy points on serve. So it's kind of more on Shang to me, and like how ready he is to win a match like this against an experienced opponent who can grind his ass off and who's just not going to give him this much for free. Would you compromise Iga's whole clay season with second or third round losses if she wins Wimbledon at the end? Well, winning a slam is the most important thing for sure in a season, and it kind of saves your season regardless, right? I mean, I get what the basis for the question is. I think it's a bit of an unrealistic scenario though. Like if she loses early in all her clay season appearances, I don't think she would have the confidence or I don't think she would have the game or the quality or the confidence to really win Wimbledon. I think most likely it would be something like win Roland Garros, have a good clay season, then on grass maybe just I don't know, either not play a warm up at all, or maybe something like last year when she played 2 or 3 matches in Bad Homburg, and that could be like ideal Wimbledon preparation. In the scenario that you mentioned, I don't know if it would be doable, but let's hypothetically say that it is for now. Let's just assume that it is, and then I would say that that it would still be better than let's say not winning either slam, because slams are just the most important thing. And if you're a player of her status, I think obviously she's going to win a lot of WTA 1000s. Actually, I have this prediction that she will be the leader in that, and I don't think it's particularly controversial even, because Serena only has 23, so the same amount as slams, right? I mean, these events just weren't as happening as often in the past, and also they weren't like prioritized by the top players as much, or at least by Serena and by the players that were winning a ton of slams. So I think that, yeah, it would be better than like not winning either for sure, but I don't think it's a scenario that's particularly realistic. If we're talking about like whether, yeah, winning Roland Garros or Wimbledon for her is more important right now, I would say, it's slam is a slam, really. Obviously, Roland Garros and Wimbledon are very different for her, since at one she's like, all the pressure is on her, and the other, not really. Yeah, Saberville loves these Indian Wells conditions, Matthew. It's pretty much clay with maybe a bit of like even better edge for him, kinda, because it's still a hard court after all, and that combination I feel like is super solid for Thiago. Just allows him to explode into the forehand, allows him time to set it up, which he doesn't always have. The serving is not that important, and we know that he kind of has a lot of decent pace on it, but doesn't spot serve well, doesn't really vary it well either. So yeah, I think it's a great court for Thiago Seybovic if he can just contain his usual irregularity. And yeah, JJ, of course, playing for the first time since Australia as well. That's a big deal too. 40-30 for Thompson now. Let's see if he can close this game out without too much trouble. Shifted into a different camera angle now for some reason. Kind of sideways. It's definitely something new, probably just for a while, I guess, while they sort out the technical difficulties. And it's Shang missing first here. The forehand cross is just totally mistimed. So 4-2, Juncheng Shang, still 2 holds away from winning the opening set. But of course, the last hold was not pleasant at all. I mean, Nurlan, I really don't have any players that I'm a fan of, really. Like maybe just, 5 or something. But even for them, like I mostly don't care if they win or not. Let me tell you that I like both Jordan Thompson and Yuncheng Shang more than Iga Świątek as a, from a fan perspective. I do wish Iga pretty well, but for the most part, I don't actively care if she wins or loses. I mean, I'm interested in it. I'm interested to know how it happened. I'm interested to have an opinion on how it happened. But I don't actively care if she wins or loses. No. If she loses to Daniel Collins in Indian Wells, I will just talk about her loss to Daniel Collins. If she wins, I will talk about her win. Something about storms rolling through Cali with high wind. Definitely a windy place, Indian Wells, that's for sure. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the chat. I'm trying to. If Thompson loses, are you shaving the stash? Well, I am probably shaving it soon anyway. I don't know if it will be connected to a Jordan Thompson loss. It will be probably connected to me just saying, no, I mean, I look horrible, and then just choosing to do it. But yeah, I probably won't really rely on that. Thiago Seybovic is still in the event, and I think he's currently having one too. There's a lot of questions, a you think Thompson can come back, which I know they are from like a betting perspective, and as I often say, like if we knew what was going to happen in a match, we wouldn't be watching. I kind of said already what I think about the matchup and how it kind of favors Shang on these courts, but it does require a pretty high level of execution from him. Anyway, and let's not forget that he is 19 and he is still kind of learning the ropes, especially at main tour level. Even if he's had some solid runs already, the semifinal in Hong Kong, of course, being the most important one, Grand Slam win, and stuff like that. Even 2 Grand Slam wins at the Australian Open this year, right? And 1 last year, I think. Again, he just plays pretty deep and heavy off that forehand. He manages to get some nice placement, a couple of good angles, and it usually extracts an error from Thompson here so far. Does Sumit Nagal have a chance versus Raonic? I mean, honestly, almost any player right now has a chance versus Raonic if he's not fit. If we see Raonic being fit, I don't think Nagal has a big chance, no. But if we actually get Milos, let's say, struggling again, struggling to finish off a match, then why wouldn't he? Again, the Thompson backhand just leaking a bit of errors on the defense. This one was a bit cheaper than the previous point, I would say. No, Sean. I mean, I did shave my beard and I left the mustache, you know, and I just left it specifically on like Monday or Sunday. So it's kind of not how it happened. The cause and effect relationship wasn't like that. Let's see if Shang can clinch the game here. Nope, as he gets like thrown out of the court a little bit just by some solid depth of the Thompson forehand here. And eventually he's just so far, like 2 or 3 meters behind the baseline, that backhand he kind of mistimes. It can't get over the net. Yeah, the new camera angle that they had for a while was a little weird for sure. Fields Borges. I mean, both players should like the court. Nuno hits so heavy. I mean, obviously a bit of a clay courter himself, but he likes hard courts too. Arthur Fields, I mean, yeah, with that sort of spinny forehand, I mean, it should also work pretty well here. A la Kokinakis, a la, I don't know, even Iga Świątek, whom we mentioned. I don't know. I mean, it's so tough. Before the Golden Swing, I would have said Fields for sure, but yeah, that was such a rough part of the season for Artur. And also, he finished that match against Martinez in Santiago with a right thigh injury. I don't know how serious it was. To be honest with you, it didn't look that serious. However, I would probably assume that, well, he's still like a tiny favorite to me, but yeah, just tiny. Shang getting pushed behind the baseline again, and it kind of didn't feel like the Thompson shots were, big enough to get him there. Like it kind of felt like he didn't need to. But that's a very, very big opportunity missed for Jordan Thompson, as Shang just throws in that second serve right into the court, right into his forehand's hitting zone, and Thompson nets it. So bucket deuce now. Someone was saying that Jordan is going to capitalize on these double faults before Shang hits his groove. Let's see, how many double faults has he had? 3. I mean, yeah, if he's just rolling these second serves in and Thompson can't punish it, that's not going to be good for him, obviously. Why doesn't Thompson do more serve and volley in this match? He's good at it. It's impossible for him to do it efficiently here because the serve is not doing enough damage. Like, he would too often get burned, I think. He's played like maybe a couple of serve and volley points, but if it's so slow, then it's often very hard to actually get the points this way, because your serve has to like be a certain level of threat to get to the net in time with good timing on the first volley, and also just not get a return that's going to be too strong. So I don't think that going for serve and volley more, well, maybe a tiny bit more is possible, but playing it as much as, I don't know, he would on grass, it's probably going to be impossible on the Indian Wells courts. Would we describe Thompson as a grinder? Absolutely, yeah. He's like a bit of a weird grinder in that he has a big serve, and also he's like a chippy type of grinder. Like, he slices a ton, he kind of plays like Andy Murray. I've said it many times by now, I know, but it's definitely a bit of a different style of grinding to, let's say, a guy like Jaume Munar, who right now is losing to Alex Mikkelsen, where you just kind of rely on the quality of your baseline shots and like how solid they are and how heavy they are as well. Thompson doesn't have that, so Thompson kind of just chips and grinds a la Murray, and of course these days he is more aggressive, especially because that serve is so big and it sets him up for aggression. But overall, he's definitely a grinder, yeah. How do you value Hailey Baptiste? Honestly, I can't really answer that. Like I've watched her once or twice, but it's not really a player I have a good knowledge of, to be honest with you. My WTA watching is like really only the main tour. So if someone hasn't broken the top 100, usually it will be kind of tough for me to have a good feeling of their game. Maybe if I've seen them live for some reason, maybe if I've watched a random ITF somewhere, sure, but I don't think Hailey Baptiste ever really fell into that category. I mean, of course, she's been appearing with wildcards from time to time, and I'm pretty sure I've watched a match or two of hers, but yeah, not enough to really say anything that would be relevant. Muna likes a very slow pace of play. Yeah, which actually the Indian Wells courts, they kind of suit him. 1 year he was here in the third round in 2022, I think. And last year he had this great match against Yibing Wu, who of course was coming of that Dallas title. And everyone thought that Wu was actually going to make a big time impact on the tour, which didn't happen. I mean, after that, he kind of didn't have a run for the rest of the year. Of course, right now he's once again struggling with his health, but yeah, that Indian Wells match against Jaume Munar I remember very well because it's just really hard to put away the Spaniard on these courts. Someone like Mikkelsen though might have an easier time beating him because he has a lot of regulation in his game and a lot of consistency in his game as well. But we'll see. That also might sort of not end up being true. If it comes to the crunch, if there's more pressure and he kind of feels like he has to overhit. Saber Wild now 6-2, 4-1 up on JJ as well. So that is looking really good for the Brazilian. Naomi Osaka also 6-3, 4-1 up on Errani, because that's also a match that a lot of people will be following. And it seems that Jordan Thompson will force Juncheng Shang to serve this set out. And of course, the last two service games of Jerry were tough. However, that's a nice return now from the Chinese, and he still is in this game at 5-2 up. Arthur Fils and Junior Borges, the match that was mentioned earlier, is starting by now. That these are like the four ATP matches right now that are on. So Shang, Thompson, Fils, Borges, Sablefield, Wolf, and Mikkelsen, Munar. Just recently, I think Borna Choric finished his match 6-love in the third against Sebastian Offner, and also Jakub Mensik was there, beating Songchan Hong that was on this court that we're watching right now. Double fault for Thompson, so 2 points away from the set now, Shang. Thompson was 40-15 in this game, but a sloppy error and a great second serve return from the Chinese, where really like the second serve, similarly to Shang's, was just sitting up in the court waiting to be attacked. And to Shang's credit, he did take advantage of it very well. So let's see if he can produce something similar on another second serve of Thompson. This one is a little tougher, especially as it went at the body, but Shang will be in the rally. Thompson tries to take this forehand very aggressively, but he shanks it completely, and it's a set point for the Chinese youngster. Which is faster, Indian Wells or Madrid? I mean, Madrid easily. It's not close. 700 meters altitude, it's not close. Who was the last underdog to win Indian Wells? I mean, Juan Martin del Potro doesn't count, I would assume. No, it's Cam Nori, right? I mean, 2021 October edition. And what a failed drop shot slice approach from Jordan Thompson here, as Juncheng Shang wins the opening set 6-2. Could it have been closer? Sure. I mean, definitely a couple of return games that Thompson couldn't capitalize on his breakpoint chances. However, all in all, I mean, it's probably fair to say that Shang has been the better player, and Thompson kind of doesn't have anything that he's better at against him. That he's better than Shang at, other than of course serving. But yeah, on these Indian Wells courts, the serving is just completely neutralized so far. So Let's see if he can recover somehow. He definitely was spraying a little bit too much on the backhand side as well. So maybe there is also a chance for Thompson to raise his level from here. But definitely a bit of a dominant set for Shang, even if a couple of games could have gone either way. Yeah, Wild very close to securing a 6-5-1 lead, even 2 breakpoints. So that would be pretty wild. Oh, yeah, we can also count Fritz as Indian Wells underdog, but Nori the year before that, yeah. I mean, right away when you said like the first person that came to my mind was Marcelo Rios. He also wasn't an underdog, but like just because he didn't win a slam and had like his best ever, well, really his best ever moment on tour was the Sunshine Double that year. So I was just thinking of him. Obviously, he wouldn't be an underdog, but yeah, Cam Nori, Taylor Fritz, if you may. That's probably the right answer for that. But earlier than that, there was a bit of a, let's say, a patch where everyone winning Indian Wells was like a big three or thereabouts player. Ivan Ljubicic, I guess, right in 2010. That was also a bit of an underdog story, given he was like kind of post his prime already in 2010, I would say. Um, yeah, I think that's fair. So anyway, yeah, Cam Nori, Taylor Fritz, Del Potro, depending on who you want to count, really. Del Potro, a Grand Slam champion, but he's only ATP 1000, so there are arguments a lot of ways probably here. But yeah, since the last few years, it definitely hasn't been as dominated by Nadal, Djokovic, Federer as it was back in the day, mostly because they haven't been playing it too much. I mean, Roger was still in the 18-19 finals, but after that, of course, not a factor anymore. Nadal was in the final in 2022, and Djokovic hasn't played it since 2019 even, so I don't know, Ghosty. I mean, I definitely don't feel like I have a bad memory for dates, names, and stuff. But there are definitely things that I don't remember at all, like even related to tennis. But some, well, things that I'm interested in, I do remember quite well. I do feel like my memory is very selected, though. Like if I'm not invested in something, if I don't care about something, it usually just enters my head and leaves right away, including the things I had at the university, for example. It was sometimes funny because, like, someone else from my course would say that, oh, but we've mentioned that book, that movie, that whatever 100 times during the course or that term for something. And I'm like, really? I mean, it's the first time I hear it in my life. But yeah, it's a matter of commitment for sure. And if you live in that bubble where tennis is the only important thing in the world, you're probably going to remember quite a lot about it as well. Let's see. Juncheng Shang 40 love up in his service game already. Jordan Thompson just, well, I can't really say smashed his racket, but he threw it at the ground pretty aggressively. Slicing now, kind of inviting Shang to attack here, but it was a pretty low margin shot that Jerry chose. So 40-15, but still looking in a good position to take this game. Nuno Borges right away with the break, and both Thiago Seibold and Alex Mikkelsen are currently serving for the match. So I guess no surprises there, but still Seibold winning 6-2, 6-1. That's a pretty, let's say, eye-catching scoreline if that indeed happens. Of course, if we remember that JJ hasn't played or hadn't played for 2 months, sure. But yeah, all in all, especially with his qualifying showings, right? I mean, Thiago Seibold lost 1-6, 1-6-3 against Adam Walton, and also 6-1, 6-1 against Liam Brody, friend of the show. Are we friends with Jordan Thompson or Juncheng Shang? I don't think so, right? We need to be get more friendly with them. I don't know if there will be any opportunities to do that really, but we need to try to get more friendly with them and call them friends of the show. I mean, Jordan Thompson, I think I can kind of call friend of the show, after my recent change of image. I mean, although maybe instead of being an ode to Jordan Thompson, I should have called it an ode to Steve Johnson since he was retiring this week, since he retired this week with that qualifying loss to Emilio Nava, wasting seven match points, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, Shang holds in the end. Thompson just again kind of letting him off the hook here with that backhand return. Certainly wasn't anything special on the serve from Jerry, so he might regret it. Sabovit has just closed out JJ Wolf. Mikkelsen 15-30 in that last game, but he's also very close to a win now. Of course, we still have so much action in Indian Wells today, as yesterday was rained off in to an extent at least. So currently there are still so many matches left to be played, whereas usually we would be like around this time we would already be like slowing things down. And a lot of excitement too. When I was asked about today and like which match I want to do, I actually usually would have said Kovacevic Zhang, but that might be too late even for me. Oh, and Jordan Thompson is like really out of it right now. I mean, he's committing errors that are definitely quite uncharacteristic. Just looking kind of powerless on these Indian Wells courts, That volley here was tragic. Love 30 down, and he might be falling a set and a breakdown soon if he can't control himself here. That's an ace, though. That will help. One of the really few free points that he's gotten on serve in this match. Osaka, in the meantime, also won. I guess the only real match of notes right now on the women's side going on. Maybe Townsend, Lynette as well. Someone commented about this on the chat earlier. Taylor right now up in the third set. We should get a mixed doubles pairing between Taylor Fritz and Taylor Townsend. Thompson listening to Ghosty and serving volleying to win the point. To be honest with you, still not sure that this was the correct way to do it because, it's probably, he left a bit of space for Jerry, let's say that. However, eventually he manages to get the point anyway. And I think the serve and volleying here, is both an adjustment and him trying to bring up something else, but also him kind of running out of other ideas, right? We'll see if it's actually effective at all or not in the long run. I think he was also trying to serve and volley here on the 30 all point. Very aggressive second serve here from Thompson, and it will allow him to get to the net, but still doesn't really get there, on his terms, I would say. And it's going to be a breakpoint for Shang. He could easily lead 6-2 to love very soon, and maybe even 6-3 love. And let's see if Thompson can just keep fighting. Obviously, he had that match in Los Cabos against Alex Mikkelsen when he was love 6, 1-4, 15-40 down. He wins this match, he wins the title eventually. So never write him off. But right now, he almost sends the ball out of the stadium. He sort of stops himself. He actually just sort of softly puts it into the air. But all of that happened after a backhand unforced error. So it's a set and a break lead for Juncheng Shang. And if he can get the next game as well, if he can lead 6-3 love, it will be a very sort of sizable lead and something that he can actually sort of allow himself a bit of inconsistency with as well. A bit of a lull from at some point. Obviously, still not a lead that would be in any way decisive, but it would be a very healthy lead and a great chance to finish off the match. I don't remember right now who either of these two guys is playing in the second round, but if I remember correctly, and I'm going to check it now, I believe it was a winnable opportunity as well for either, really. Let me check it. Alexander Bublik, yeah, I think that's super winnable for both, actually. Bublik in Indian Wells should not be too much of a threat. However, let's remember that this year we have this determined and very focused version of Alexander Bublik, who is winning 8 out of 13 of the matches so far when he lost the first set, and all of the matches when he won the first set. And that could mean that Bublik might actually have a shot at grinding someone down also on these courts. Why not? But it's certainly still one of the seeds you want to draw in these conditions. So I think either, well, probably more so Jerry, given how Thompson is playing today and how powerless he is feeling. Right now, he's kind of rushing the net, actually. So he was listening to Ghost, yes. But is he gonna make it work? So far, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, yeah, just kind of is running out of options on these courts, and he is just looking for something completely different. But that something is not paying off for now. Forilov Shang, can he close out the game right away? Yes, and that was like such a weird forehand counter attempt, I guess, from Thompson there. He seems close to just sort of giving up on the match, but as I said, recently Alex Mikkelsen, Los Cabos, remember what happened there? So I wouldn't write him off just yet. Mikkelsen now match point up. Borges fees kind of just started right away. So these are the three men's matches going on. And as I said in the women's, probably not too much of a storyline. I mean, Xinyu Wang is dominating Anna Karolina Schmidlova. I think last week they were both in the it was Ziyu Wang, right, who was in the semis of Austin and eventually even the final. Yeah, as I said, I often mix them up. Diane Perry in the first set against Martina Trevisan as well. And Elina Avanesian is breakpoint up on Ocean Dode at 4-1 in the opening set. I think on the preview for Indian Wells, we said that this is a pretty good court for Elina as well. Sort of similarly to all the clay court specialists. How do they schedule Demon? Does he get a bye in round 1 at Indian Wells? Every single seed gets a bye at Indian Wells. 32 seeds get a bye. So yes, he does. Yeah, Gene, I remember on the preview you were talking about that. Yeah, you sort of very confidently said that Shang would beat Thompson. I said that I like the pick and sort of said why Shang could potentially win, but I wasn't as decisive as you. Definitely not. Just a hint of cockiness. Yeah, I think it is there. Yeah, Ghosty, I agree. Some people even say that maybe there is too much of it. Not that Jerry has been like unpleasant to others, I guess, but just in the way that his father and like the whole family, the Rios, Marcio Rios drama when he was his coach for a while, and that maybe there's been rumors that Jerry doesn't practice that hard actually. Well, who knows? I mean, without actually being there on the team, you kind of can't fully know what's happening, but there's been rumors like that and about him sort of maybe sometimes and probably mostly his background, his father sort of acting like he's already like an amazing star. I don't know. Me, I just like to watch the guy on the court, and kind of the other aspects of that we'll see. I mean, once he maybe gets there, but definitely a very naturally talented player. And I think that if he remains healthy this year, a top 100 debut is kind of, well, I don't want to say guaranteed, but yeah, he remains healthy. I think he gets there. 15:30 now Thompson, as he missed one more horrible volley. He is not reacting to this too well, but yeah, he's just kind of out of options. I mean, at least he feels he's out of options. Even here, I mean, he's in control of the point. He attacks the net, but Shang can just moonball him down here, and the forehand approach of Thompson just doesn't do enough damage. This has turned into an absolute demolition job, and Thompson is just not there fully. He's there on the court. He's executing the shots, but he's not like, actually in the match mentally for the moment. Nice short slice here. Can he actually capitalize on that? Not really. I mean, again, he's just kind of powerless. I don't really know how he's supposed to hit through the court. He doesn't either. And it's a forehand drop shot from Shang. Thompson will respond with one himself. Would have been a phenomenal rally if Jerry made it, but I think he just misses this shot in the cat and mouse exchange. Yeah. This would have been like, the final nail in the coffin, I think. If he gets that shot and if he gets that 6-4 love lead. Yeah, but as it stands, still one more breakpoint for the 19-year-old. Second serve of Thompson as well. Will he serve and volley even after that? Because he's been trying on the first serve pretty often now. Yeah, he tries to serve and volley and he loses the point because, yeah, again, like the first volley is just not going to be in good enough timing for him with a good enough sort of situational advantage. And even though it's still a decent attempt, Shang just has way too much time to pass him. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, it's just kind of impossible for Thompson to serve and volley here with how little his serve is doing. And it's, of course, so rare for Jordan Thompson right now that his serve is not doing the damage, but it's not on these courts. And yeah, just has no idea how he should be continuing in this match. And it's been very telling so far. Now sort of approaching the net in the, let's say, out of the blue. Tries to surprise Shang with it, but again, his head is not in it anymore. He misses another easy volley, which, by now it's like 3 or 4 of these very uncharacteristic misses for a guy who usually is very strong there. Yeah, kinda, yeah. I kinda did Ghosty call him a Nick Kyrgios of China. Like um that's basically the things we've heard about him, right? About how the situation in his team also works. But again, as I said, like this is only rumors. From what I know, I haven't actually met him. I haven't watched him live, but for all I know, he actually has been pretty nice to people. So I don't know. There's definitely been some gossip circulating about the professionalism and the work ethic in the team, but again, I it's just gossip, really. So dictating with the forehand Shang here down the line, great shot. I mean, one of his best combinations so far, really. Shang in total control. Yeah, the volley means nothing without a great serve to set it up. You deserve better than Thompson. Steve Johnson. I can say that I'm an ode to Steve Johnson, who retired, so he deserves an ode. Am I more impressed by Shang or Zhang? Um, I think all 3 Chinese players that we have right now, sort of at the top. So Shang, Wu, and Zhang. Of course, Wu is no longer at the top, but it's mostly injuries. I think they are all like supremely talented. In the long run, I wouldn't be surprised if Shang and Wu have like a higher ceiling than Zhang. But they are, they have a very different body type. They are so much more injury prone. So it's really hard to say, really. I think all 3 are insane ball strikers. Zhang, I've said it many times, like to me, has nothing really to worry about in terms of like strictly ball striking against really everyone on the tour. Like he can hang with anyone. It's just that, yeah, I mean, he definitely is like a bit rawer than them. He has his issues sort of adjusting tactically as well. That it's the small stuff, it's the intangibles that keep him behind. Shang and Wu are honestly mostly held back by their, yeah, the how fragile their bodies are and how injury prone they are. So, which one is easier to fix? You told me, but all three of them are really insanely talented, and I guess it's also very common for juniors. Well, for not only for juniors, given that Jian Zhang, I don't think he actually had that good a junior career, but like for young prospects from this part of the world to just have insane feel for the ball, and they definitely fall into that category without being underpowered as well, because well, Shang and Wu, they have such good timing. Shang has the raw power that can really hit through any conditions, just brutally force his way through. It's a fantastic group, really. I think Chinese tennis fans have really a lot to look forward to if these guys ever sort out these little issues that they have. But who is actually more impressive? Who's the more exciting prospect to me? It's very hard to tell, especially with Jerry still being very much in his developmental phase. But maybe more impressive to me is actually how Zhang has developed, because he kind of seemed like a bit of a, well, bland-ish player to me for a lot of his career. And yeah, the progress he made since like the 2022 season, even the summer of 2022, like that's something probably that's more impressive to me than Jerry, who's been touted as one of the best prospects in the world since he was 14, since he was, since he had that IMG contract, and he was regularly beating other juniors who were like 2 or 3 years older. So I think, he's kind of had the prodigy type of path, whereas Zhang emerged from the back row, and it's kind of maybe more impressive to me in that way. But as like their games, I don't know. I love watching both. She skirted her bashing too much, and it showed in the Australian Open final. Ghosty, I mean, the thing is that I don't think she was allowed to bash at all. Like even if she wanted to against Sabalenka, because Sabalenka just takes that first strike away from her. She hits even bigger, she hits even heavier. So I don't think she even got to play the match in a way. So yeah, I don't think tactics really came into play there, because she just wasn't allowed to play her tennis. 6-2 for 1 anyway. Shang loses his serve, but of course by now it's still a massive effort required from Thompson to come back. Let's see if he can make it. And Jean says that he was pretty convinced because these courts are too slow for Thompson, and although Thompson is in good form. Yes, I agree with you, but then again, look at Los Cabos, right? I mean, are these courts fast? Are the conditions there fast? Absolutely not. And he was still able to make it. But of course, it did require a crazy comeback against Mikkelsen. So he kind of needs another one here. He needs another one here, and then we'll see. But looking at Thompson today, I mean, I wouldn't really make him the favorite against Bublik. Shang, to me, will have an excellent chance if he makes it. But, well, let's see. But it is kind of worrying for Tomo how powerless his game has felt today. And just as I'm talking about it, I mean, he just kind of can throw shots to Shang, and it's all on Jerry's racket here as he blasts another one of these forehand winners down the line, just at will. This was actually something that was, just right away probably one of the biggest pickups of his in the when you were watching him in the juniors, like just the way that he was able to unleash on a ball out of nowhere, despite not having that much natural power, it would seem. And Thompson with another volley miss that's just isn't like him really, which again I just don't think he's really in the match mentally. Sorry, had to get my phone. But yeah, 6-2 4-1, love 30 as well now. He will need another Alex Mikkelsen Los Cabos type of effort, and let's see if he is able to provide it, because he hasn't looked the part today so far. Yeah, Thompson gets to the net, tries to play this, let's say, half volley drop shot, and Shang just tracks it down without any issue. So 3 more breakpoints for Juncheng Shang to go 5-1 up and to serve for the match for the first time. Nice backhand down the line from Thompson. He goes to the net. This time doesn't make a horrific error. And I think Shang will miss the lob. Yeah, he asks for the call, I guess, to be shown, but I do think he missed it. Oh, just by a tiny bit, but still. 2 more breakpoints for him. Pretty big serve from Thompson here. Another one of these rare occasions where he actually gets something done with it. Down the tee, and 1 more breakpoint left only. That lob, by the way, Shang easily could have made it. Like he kind of overplayed it, I think. He like really added a lot of arm on that one and was just trying to maybe overcomplicate that shot, despite Thompson being in a really rough spot and like not really able to chase down even a less precise lob. Short ball for Thompson here, but again he's like not able to capitalize on that, so he's gonna have to win it in a longer rally again. Shorter ball now on the forehand, and this time he actually manages to take it. Shang still with a decent attempt at a counter, but it does go into the net. So, deuce. Is that the start of another Jordan Thompson comeback? We will see. I mean, he definitely looked out of it against Mickelson as well. So, it's not like it would be the first time in recent weeks. Goes down the line with the forehand here. Maybe there was an opportunity to approach the net. That little bit of hesitation, because I think he did make a step, might have cost him here, as he misses that backhand, and it's again breakpoint Shang to go 6-2, 5-1 up potentially. Shorter ball here, and he's gonna have an easier one here. But again, I mean, Shang, I guess, anticipates very well here, but Thompson plays into the corner where Shang is running towards. Jerry gets an easy play on the ball because it literally sits up for him. Like usually on a faster court, Thompson would slam this forehand, and like it would be hard for Jerry to control the last shot, the pass into the open court, because he was actually standing pretty close to it as well. Whereas here, the ball just kind of sat up right into the air, and it wasn't a tough shot at all. And it's 6-2, 5-1, and he's serving for the match. Great play here from Shang as well. Thompson going for that heavy forehand return, running around it, but Shang just flattens it out down the line from the forehand with no issue. 3 points away now as he gets it to 15 all. Double fault for Shang now. They're coming back, but he's still 6-5 when up, so 15-30. He still has a lot of time to clinch this match, but of course would like to do it right away. Put away Jordan for good. Nice angle out wide on the serve, and great play here too. Just waiting around a bit, delaying the +1 forehand to see where Thompson would go, and it really throws off Jordan defensively. 30 all, 2 points away. I thought it was another double fault for a moment, but no, it was actually let. So second serve of Shang here. Thompson being pretty aggressive, and he gets a shorter ball on the forehand, capitalizes on that. But that's almost the one with the quality of his return here. This time running around and just getting enough spin, enough depth on the ball to get to find that shorter ball. And I guess that's also like big part of playing in Indian Wells, right? Just if you get a shorter ball like this, it really sits up for you. It really gives you an easy put away. Just Thompson hasn't really been able to do it at all in this match. And I guess generally it makes sense because, of course, he's not the best at generating consistent depth of the forehand or even the backhand, really. But yeah, let's see if he can break. Backhand cross. He has Jerry on the back foot, but he kinda lets him loose here. But the Chinese goes for an inside-out forehand, and he puts it into the net. So 6-2, 5-2. Is Thompson about to have a ridiculous comeback, or are we just going to see this match end in the next 2 or 3 games? Everything is possible. Anything else currently happening? Oh, actually, there were some comments as well. Are there less out-and-out defenders on the WTA than the ATP? Pushers like Saba seem to get their own way quite easily. Generally, yeah, I think the WTA, the meta right now is kind of go big or go home. Yeah, I think the modern tennis player on the WTA hits very flat and very strong of both wings, and that's kind of like the most common type that we have. Sometimes people actually try to contest that, and I'm not really sure it's contestable, but of course you're gonna find exceptions. But I think as a whole it has kind of gotten very ball bashy. There were even some players, I guess, that were expected to be at the top, like I don't know, like Anna Konyuk, for example, which would have made that that meta, that trend even stronger. But I would say there's a bit more. Although actually, it's a controversial topic as well, because there are a lot of people who say that they watch the WTA more because it has more variety. There are people who say that they watch the ATP more because it has more variety, and it seems to sort of vary your opinion on that seems to vary depending on which side of the game you're watching more and you enjoy more. So maybe my take on this doesn't really matter because obviously I am a more avid ATP watcher. Thompson finally with a well executed point at the net. He the last couple of games he's kind of swinging more freely on the forehand, actually using it to like open up the opportunities for him, try to make his way to the net, pounces on the short balls instead of like in the previous couple of even like previous half an hour. But it's still a long way back, of course, from 6-5-2, especially in a match where the serves have not been making too much impact. So a break is also certainly possible if Shang just sort of keeps himself a little more steady than the last game. And he does here indeed. Once again, he finds this flatter forehand down the line. This time it's not for a clear winner, but it does get an error out of Jordan Thompson. Someone earlier was talking about Taylor Townsend. She does get the win in the end over Magdalinet. So I guess it's just Iga Świątek in the women's for Poles left. Magda Frank losing to Lucia Bronzetti earlier today, and now Linette to Taylor Townsend. Now it's again Shang just opening up the court for himself a bit better than Thompson. Yeah, Thompson back to his pretty passive, low depth backhand hitting here. And Shang is able to step around the backhand, fire a couple of good forehands, and just get the points. So once again, he's 2 points away. 15-30 down Jordan Thompson at 2-5 in the second. Great serve, was trying to follow it up to the net, but it will not be necessary. Nice one sort of sliced down the tee. But now the serve and volley attempt is just more of the same that we were talking about with Ghosty earlier, as it just doesn't do enough damage with it, gets a very tough volley, and can't get himself out of it. So a match point for Jerry Shang here. It will be saved though, again, getting a free point on serve. If he was getting 3 points on serve with the same frequency as in this game, the entire match, maybe he could have won that. I mean, he still can. Backhand down the line, follows it up to the net. Will Shang get a pass? Yes, he does. It's a banana pass down the line. Thompson is like spreading his arms. What am I supposed to do? He's asking the team. And yeah, I mean, I get the sentiment. This is a play that usually would work for him. But it's both a great passing shot for Shang, and also, yeah, the ball just kind of stood up there in the air after contacting the ground for that shot to be possible. So second match point. Plays a nice backhand cross here, will be approaching the net. Oh, actually doesn't need to, because he plays this jumping backhand well enough that Shang will not get there. However, I do feel like maybe the lights went on or something like that. What is something suddenly changed pretty much during the point, and I'm in terms of the stream quality. But I feel like maybe the lights went on. I don't know. Never mind. Anyway, 6-2, 5-2. Shang having a brief talk with the umpire, but again, watching on mute, so I'm not really sure what it was about. Still 2 points away, but he's already missed too much points. Thompson playing quite freely on them and definitely not feeling the same pressure that has been on him, sort of with him the entire match. It's pretty common, of course, mental wise, to just be playing a bit better when you're almost down and out rather than when you actually can clinch the match. Great rally here building up. Shang almost getting it with that forehand counter, but now they're still sort of back to neutral trading. And eventually it's again Jerry who just sort of flattens out his shots more. The backhand cross here. Usually it's the forehand, the flatter forehand down the line that creates the most offense and sort of breaks up the rhythm the most in this match. But now it's actually also his backhand cross that gets an error out of Thompson. But it's going to be another match point save as Shang's return is long. So 3 saved already. Are we entering the same sort of territory as Mikkelsen, Thompson in Los Cabos? Let's find out. I think there Thompson saved 3 match points as well. But of course, such a long way back. Pretty nice return from Shang. He's blasting the ball on the forehand. He gets Thompson on the back foot. Still can't claim the point though. Now he's sort of, struggling to actually convert an advantageous position in this on these courts in these conditions. And yeah, Thompson with a good grinding effort in this rally manages to get himself to a game point actually, and to potentially just be one break and one hold away from leveling in the second set after saving 3 match points in this game. One of them with that great jumping backhand cross, and I think 2 maybe with big serves. Can't remember, but one was definitely an unreturned serve. I don't remember what the first one was. Could have been an error from Shang of sorts. Anyway, game point. What will Thompson do? It's Shang mishitting a forehand, so it's 6-2, 5-3. It's ball change now, right? So I don't know if that actually helps Shang all that much, given how this match is progressing in terms of the serve return balance. But well, maybe it will be a bit of a factor as well. But let's see. Jerry Shang serving for the match for the second time already, as he led 6-2, 5-1 and lost 2 games in a row. One of them blowing 3 match points, or at least not converting 3 match points, since it wasn't, it wasn't anything outrageous, I guess. But yeah, this will be a bit of a crucial game, obviously. At 5-4, Thompson will feel like he has an opportunity to come back to this match. 5-3 is still, well, it's still not obvious. At 5-4, it will be kind of palpable, right? Shang should be passing Thompson here, but he's not. I mean, he is, in a way, but Thompson gets a play on it, and then Jerry can't react quickly enough with the forehand volley. Maybe this is a bit of a strategy for Thompson as well, to kind of lure him out of that comfort zone. Of course, we've seen a lot of desperate tactics from Thompson in the second set, and some of them have been working out too. Shang sends a ball flying out of the stadium, so he's already kind of anxious to close this match out, understandably. 5-1 to 5-3, not really getting too much done on his serve, as Thompson isn't either, but Yeah, it could get a little tricky, of course, if he loses this game. Thompson goes down the line with the backhand. Now this is an opportunity for Shang. And can he get an error out of Thompson? Can he finish off the point? Because right now that's the big deal, that Thompson is grinding like a madman. And he's now at the net. He plays a couple of pretty good volleys. And it's Shang who's gonna crack. It's Shang who's gonna make an error. And it's love 30 down now. Suddenly, Thompson is coming back into this match. He might be 6-2, 5-3, love 30. And what a great point, like all in all, from Thompson, surviving the pressure that Shang's flatter forehand was giving him, but also eventually just finding a way for himself to get to the net, to get this time, in good timing, this time actually get sort of the positional advantage that he was going for, make Shang try to hit this extra tough pass, fail at that. So yeah, it's getting very tricky for the Chinese. This time he gets an error out of Jordan. I think surprising him with that direction, surprising him with going inside out again. 15-30 now. In what is really looking like an increasingly crucial game, considering how frustrated Shang is already, considering how Thompson right now is just willing to dig deep and run around like crazy in order to get the points. It's gonna be quite an exciting finish to an otherwise dull match. Did the first serve really just give Juncheng Shang a 3-point? Yes, indeed, and that's massive. And in this spot, as Thompson just misses a backhand return down the line, yeah, that's massive in this spot. Obviously, 30-all. Once again, 2 points away from closing the match. He had 3 match points at 5-2 on return. Can he get to his first one on serve? 5-3, 30-all. I think he just misses that first serve, although it was pretty close. Every shot can be crucial here. And it's Jordan Thompson missing that second serve return. I mean, he had the right idea, the serve was attackable. He chose, I think, right in terms of the direction, the type of forehand that he was playing, but he just misses it wide. So it's a match point for Jerry Shang. 4th one, first one on his serve. Does that matter all that much in this match? Probably not, but it's still easier to make a serve than to make a return, right? So it's still an advantage. And it's Shang just missing a regulation backhand. Yeah, the tension is there. The nerves are hitting him. Ooh, yeah, that's a very horrible tennis dream, Jake. Yeah, mine are usually like, I don't know, little different. Like someone is winning something, or I don't know, I'm just watching tennis and I remember what's happening. I have this famous dream, for example, that Preston Brown won 4-2, was like leading 4-2 against Stefanos Tsitsipas in a tennis event, some sort of televised, TV big event. I don't know which one really, but hard courts for sure. Maybe it still happens, maybe Preston Brown is able to develop like that. I also had the dream that Andrei Golubev and Zdenek Kolarz won the French Open in doubles together. and it still hasn't happened. But Golubev was pretty close with Bublik. Anyway, Juncheng Shang clinches the match. He actually gets a pretty short ball from the serve. Thompson not putting in a great return. He pounces on it, so it's 6-3, 6-2, 6-3 for Juncheng Shang. Was that a great match from the youngster? I can't really say that, honestly. Like, I think he kind of just exposed the advantage that the conditions presented him with. And also Thompson, after a while, was kind of out of options, out of answers. He was like, going for desperate tactics, which worked for a while. Like, they actually worked for a while, yeah. But they were also like desperate tactics. And eventually he's able to somehow Shang to recover from that comeback attempt that Thompson was actually building up, especially that low 30 in the last game. Like, and over, probably we're not going to be talking about this match in a couple of days when we're thinking back to this one. But like, Thompson had a real comeback attempt here. And he doesn't manage to get it home. He doesn't manage to get it back on serve, but he could have. It was very close. So at least for that, he deserves a bit of credit. But all in all, he just looked very powerless today. He had absolutely no idea how to break through off the ground against Shang. He couldn't sort of have the usual serve advantage that he has over most players right now, but even more specifically over someone like Jerry Shang. I mean, on the screen, you even have the stats from TNNS, and like you can see how few points he won on his first serve, his second serve. Like, really, he did not have any serve advantage today over Jerry Shang, and that's something that really hurt him. And especially as he couldn't generate like any offense off the ground anyway, at least not as efficiently as Shang with these flatter forehands down the line. Yeah, it was just a very tough matchup to play for Jordan on these courts, which is sometimes a bit weird because like last year Thompson actually made the fairground, was it, in Indian Wells, right? And obviously he's played some good tennis in slow conditions in the past. That actually includes Los Cabos when he won his maiden title, right? But yeah, it just wasn't the Thompson of Los Cabos. Maybe Indian Wells, maybe there was something specific about these courts, maybe even like the grittier aspect of them, or maybe the desert air is not quite as sort of fastening things up, just like it was in speeding things up, just like it was in Acapulco or Los Cabos, where like the Mexican air kind of counteracts with the slow surface. Maybe here it doesn't quite work. Maybe here it didn't quite work the same way for Jordan Thompson as it did there. But yeah, last year he actually beat Monfils and Tsitsipas here, losing to Tabilo. I guess Tsitsipas was injured, Monfils was just coming back, but still, he could play pretty well in Indian Wells in the past. It just didn't on the day. Juncheng Shang goes on to play Alexander Bublik in the next round. As I said earlier, I think it's a very winnable match for him in these conditions. I'm definitely very excited for it. In terms of what's happening on the men's side, we had Artur Fils actually claim the first set over Nuno Borges. That's probably what I'm going to watch next. Fabio Fognini also starting his match against Bernabe Zapata Miralles, and a couple of women's matches, which I think I was mentioning sort of for the most part, other than Hovde against Surenko playing right now, and also Buksa Dolhide starting. But nothing crazy right now, so I think we'll just finish the stream right here. John in the background has been smiling the entire time. I don't know if I've been saying something unintentionally funny or not. Maybe he's just laughing about the Jordan Thompson image that I have right now, and how well I didn't bring him any luck. But well, I'm absolutely fine with that. As I said, I mean, I enjoy both players. So Juncheng Shang, a young prospect making it to the second round, can't be bad at all. And he's going to have a nice opportunity in the second round too. Thank you guys in the chat, of course, as usual. Thank you for the comments. Once again, we've had a pretty high viewership number from Twitter as well. Someone commented too. So thank you to those guys too. If you want to, you can subscribe to our channel. We definitely would appreciate it. And we're going to have some content from Indian Wells coming up there as well, in terms of, the press conferences. And it's not only the watch-alongs that we're going to have in terms of Indian Wells, but also content from the actual tournament. Of course, as you can probably imagine, I'm not currently there, but some other people are, and they are going to be bringing it to you while I'll be sitting here and entertaining you with my beautiful commentary skills. Anyway, thank you for tonight, and I'll see you guys some other time.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.